but it doesn't hurt and it doesn't ruin your day. And at the end of
Pap smears don't hurt you. Pap smears don't ruin your day. And that's great for you if that's your experience. That's wonderful. I'm really happy for you. But that's not everyone's experience. Pap smears are actually extremely painful for some people, and they can be extremely hard on people like SA survivors and medical trauma survivors. Also, trans people can get really bad gender dysphoria from them. Everyone's experience with a pap smear is going to be vastly different than the next person's because everyone has different life experiences, different trauma, and different pain tolerances. And pointing out and discussing the fact that it's really bad for some people is not right wing propaganda. And I truly do not know where you guys got the idea that it is. I have seen multiple creators getting on this app saying that the whole pap smear discourse is a right wing psyop. And I don't know where you guys got that idea from. I'm also pretty confused about where you guys got the idea that people are trying to frame not getting a pap smear as feminist. Because I've yet to see anyone explain how you guys reached that conclusion or show any evidence supporting it. But actually, there is a feminist element to this discussion. And that feminist element is my body, my choice. Which is something that seems to go out of the window every time the subject of pap smears is brought up. So does the whole ideal of women supporting women. Because as a woman facing barriers to accessing cervical screening, I am not feeling very supported right now. I am feeling like my experience is being completely dismissed and ignored. I am feeling like my experience as a survivor and as a person with chronic pain does not matter. And I'm feeling that because I've been told multiple times that my experience and my feelings do not matter, and that I should just suck it up and get the pap smear, my mental and emotional well being be damned. I've been accused of being part of a right wing psyop and being a Russian bot because I guess the Russians care for some reason whether or not we get pap smears. And like, I'm used to this. I'm used to hearing this because I'm almost 30. So I've been hearing it since I was 21, and also I've spent a lot of time in patient advocacy and survivor support groups trying to make cervical screening better since 2018. So I'm relatively unbothered by the fact that no one seems to give a shit about my experience or think it's valid, but other young women and AFAB people might not feel that way, which makes this really harmful to them. So maybe consider that before you invalidate other people's experiences, please. And I already know that you're probably going to say, just like everyone else says, that this isn't about people like that. This isn't about survivors of SA and people with chronic pain conditions and people with reasons that you deem to be valid for not wanting or skipping a pap smear. I already know that you're going to say that. But here's the thing, it still is about us. Because despite the fact that we have largely been excluded from this conversation and this discourse, it affects us kind of more than it affects anyone. And we've been made to feel like we can't even talk about that because despite the fact that you say it is important to talk about the barriers to screening and how we can make it more accessible and for people to feel safe sharing their experiences, that's not the environment you guys are creating. We should be fostering an environment where people facing very real and very serious barriers to having access to things like pap smears feel safe and comfortable to come forward with their experiences and to ask for help, to ask for resources, to attempt to make this screening better and more accessible. Because when this number of women and AFAB people are coming forward expressing their discomfort with this exam and expressing that they don't want it done to their bodies, maybe we should stop considering women and AFAB people to be the problem and look at the exam as the problem and look at how we can fix that and make it better. And we already have a way to fix it and make it better. We already have a way to make pap smears more accessible to everyone. And that way is called self-sampling. Because yes, there is a way that you can screen for HPV, the virus that causes cervical cancer, without ever having to have a speculum used on you or being in the stirrups. There's just these little self-testing kits that give you a little swab and you just put it up there and swirl it around, and then you put it in a little sterile container and you send it off to a lab from the privacy of your own home or while alone in an exam room at your doctor's office, and they tell you if you have HPV. And it's just as effective as a traditional pap smear. There is no reason we shouldn't be talking about that and promoting it. And this discourse could actually help people if we started doing that rather than just going round and round at each other's throats and belittling each other's experiences. So, next time you feel the urge to make a TikTok accusing people who are uncomfortable with pap smears of being Russian bots or an alt-right psyop, maybe just don't do that and talk about self-sampling instead.